Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the big one. We are at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway tonight for round 5 of the America's Racing League Formula USA 2026 season. And it's one I've been looking forward to. It's one that everyone looks forward to all the time. It is the most famous oval in the world. And by goodness, it's basically 50% of the greatest motor race of all time. The reason I say it's the 50%, simply because it is the Indy 250 tonight, 250 miles, about 100 laps of pedal to the metal action. And I can't say for sure, but I think we have an absolute treat for tonight. 16 drivers are hitting the circuit at the moment in qualifying. 15 minutes to set the fastest possible lap they can. Well, 10 minutes for everyone but the top 6. The fast 6 drivers will get to continue on towards the end of qualifying, and right now we are on board with the current championship leader, Jeff H77, a man who's been basically unstoppable so far in this series, and one who has been an unbelievable talent in this car. Did a fantastic job in the inaugural season, Season 0 as we like to call it here at ARL last year, and well, he's gunning for the championship, and he's sitting pretty. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the current championship standings, I will say they are this. Jeff H leads the field from first place, 152 points going into round 5. Second position, Tiago Lorena, a driver who, unfortunately, a little bit of a wall scrape there. Unfortunately, due to internet issues and changing internet providers, is out for yet another week. They missed last week at Long Beach as well, and it's definitely going to hurt their championship charge. 2 races without a start might make that championship a whole heck of a lot harder. We're running to the last couple of races in the calendar. They're at 124 points. Sean Stewart is the driver in third, and it gets so unbelievably tight here for the next handful of drivers. Sean Stewart's at 97 points. Ted Piper, also known as Ted is Graphic, in fourth with 95 points. 92 points is what Project Zero Hour has. Matty Ice, 90. The third through sixth separated by 7 points. So there could be a huge swing in the championship standings for this race. Sloth is at 81 points. It's no use. A driver who is probably the quickest in these cars, who has been absent for the past couple of races as well, and seems to have made too many mistakes to not secure victory, is in 8th with 80 points. Deuce Spock is in 9th with 72, and Les Paul Obsession, the man himself who runs this championship, basically his baby, is in 10th position with 67 points. As of now, it is Jeff H leading the fields 5 minutes into qualifying. 38.8, the first and only driver to be in the 38s at the moment. Sean Stewart coming out of the pits to get back onto the oval. I can't imagine these tires, with the accelerated tire wear that this series has now sort of become known for, are good for much pace for very long. I think everybody's going to jump out, do a couple of laps, get up to speed, and immediately box in for new tires and do it all again. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, well, I can tell you this: don't have a track map up this week because, well, it's 4 left turns, and that's about it. It's just 4 left turns. I can say after driving it, last year. We did a full-length Indy 500. It is a lot more intense, and the circuit's a lot more alive than you can tell by just looking at it, especially in these Indy cars. These cars are doing in excess of 200 miles an hour going around the circuit, and it seems like it's just, it's flat out, right? You just put your foot down and you just sort of turn the wheel sometimes. It is and it isn't. In qualifying trim, it is mostly flat out, at least from the sounds of Sean Stewart's Indy car. But once you get into race trim, cars are a bit heavier. Maybe you're trying to conserve tires just a bit. It's not that easy. Maybe a little lifting is required. Maybe if drivers are choosing to use the weight jacker, which moves a little bit of weights front to back within the car. You know, you have to be doing that every corner. But, yeah, the circuit truly feels alive. Each corner is just a slight bit different. This is what it looks like if you were scraping your chin on the ground through a lap here with Sloth. And, well, that's a lot of lifting. I'm wondering, they've probably come to the end of their lap, or maybe to their push at the moment. 7 minutes remain. No improvements really to be seen. Still feeling their way through the circuit. On an oval, qualifying can do a lot for you. Put you in a really good position to get a very good finish, but I can promise that it's not just going to be green flag racing for all 250 miles. I can guarantee there's going to be a caution thrown in there somewhere, which will cause extra issues for driver strategies. We're sort of looking at a maximum stint length of 35 laps if doing a little bit of fuel saving, but full flat out closer to 31. So either 3 or 4 stops of a race if all goes well for drivers. Still Jeff H sitting pretty on pole at the moment. Ted Piper second, Sloth third, Super Goose 62 is in fourth, Anthony Pacheco fifth, and Sean Stewart is in sixth. I must say, for the sake of Anthony Pacheco, he qualified I was getting ready to say it. He qualified extremely well around Long Beach last week, but just wasn't able to keep it on circuit. There goes the wheel. Wasn't able to keep it on circuit long enough to get a really good result, and I hope, my fingers are crossed, that the qualifying isn't a fluke and they're able to get a decent result today. We are entering the final 5 minutes, so the drivers outside the top 6 have the lap that they're on to complete, and then after that they are required to enter pit lane in order to make way for the Super Pole. Drivers, we should see drivers getting ready to stop if they aren't already. Well, I think Ted Piper's going to go in for another set of tires. See at the center of that wheel the type of speed they're doing. That is kilometers an hour. That is not miles an hour. They're not doing 370 miles. That would be, frankly, unbelievable. You can sort of see, based on the way the steering wheel is positioned, the way these cars are set up, they go left. They're biased to sort of already be steering in that direction. You have to do a bit of counter steering on the oval. It's all about positioning and momentum. All of our drivers outside the top 6 for the most part, are in the pit lane. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Can our drivers go faster? Super Goose has jumped up to second, dropping Ted and Sloth down a position. Oval qualifyings to some are very exciting. Oh, there's Pacheco scraping the wall. This time a little bit less dramatic than the last we saw. A little bit of a drift through turn 2. And oval qualifying can be exciting. I've never been one who sort of gets fired up. Oh, that's a bit quick. The entry of turn 3, and it's in the wall, and off goes the wheel for Anthony Pacheco. I do hope that that's one of the last times we see that. Maybe one more push in qualifying, one more wheel off, and then keep his nose clean throughout the race. But certainly don't get as excited for an oval qualifying as I do for an oval race, because once all the cars are on circuit together, once they line up 3 wide as they're going to for this race, that's when it really gets started. Once the draft comes into play, once cars are sort of 2, 3, 4 wide going through these corners, that's when it really, really gets good. That's when I think oval racing is at its absolute best. And I must say, kind of want to jump into an Indy car for the first time in a while. Jump in for one of these oval races, because it is surprisingly exciting and surprisingly enjoyable turning left. You know, it's a different kind of driving, for sure. It's not, you know, it's not about managing braking zones. It's not about hitting every apex. It's not about traction zones at the exit of a corner. It's something a little bit different. It's about absolutely maximizing your consistency everywhere you can. Always being about a second, less than a second, from your race being at an end. It is excitement. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. This is the last couple of laps for most of our drivers. Jeff H has done all they're going to do. They're in pit lane. Super Goose is still out, hoping for some more improvement. This will be their final lap. See what they can do at the end in the Hello Kitty car. At some very, very good liveries this season, and it's absolutely fantastic that so many cars have elected to have custom liveries. Make my job a little bit easier. They're a lot more recognizable with certain things on them. It's going to be Super Goose. Should be one of the last to cross the line. Is it an improvement? Is it getting up to pole? Not such. And that will be our qualifying. Jeff H is on the pole, the only driver in the 38s. Super Goose, second position. Ted Piper, third. Sloth, fourth. Anthony Pacheco in fifth. Sean Stewart, sixth. Second place, Merchant, seventh. Matty Ice, 13 in eighth. Hasta la Vista Donkey in ninth position. Maximo ARG, 10th. Les Paul Obsession in 11th. Manuel Reales, 10 in 12th. Spamuel, 13th. Groove Armada, 14th. Ryan Fisher, 919 in 15th. And Crazy Mittens bringing up the rear in 16th position. Did just notice that Spamuel had a grid penalty. Can only imagine that's from speeding in the pit lane or unsafe pit exit. That's really the only time that Amos 2 will give you that that level of penalty. You increasing amounts. They'll just sort of give you more and more grid penalties. So it's a start in 14th for Spanuel. Group Armada is promoted to 13th. Our drivers lined up, single file, getting ready for the formation lap. They will be going 3 wide before this race gets started. One final moment for our drivers to really soak it all in. Take some deep breaths. Make sure everything's set up for their pit stop. Make sure they have really decided what they want to do to start this race. The good news for them as far as strategy, there is only one tire compound. There's the Speedway tire. No messing with primaries or options or do I start on this? Do I do this? No mandatory compound changes. It's just rubber and fuel and speed for 100 miles on this circuit. I'm a bit surprised they haven't started moving, if I'm honest. Would have expected, there we go. I was gonna say, I think they were stationary for longer than I was expecting. This is a 2-minute timer. Somebody probably waited to ready up. FH is let loose. This will be the first of 404 left turns between one of our drivers and overall victory around the oval. A couple drivers are taking their time getting off the line. Seems that that Anthony Pacheco is taking a moment. They're going to have to put a little bit more pedal down to catch up to the leaders. Shouldn't be an issue. Oh, we got another pack of cars moving slowly. Bit surprising. I don't know if it's technical issues. I don't know if people are trying to get in the correct grid spots. Perhaps a bit confused on where they need to be. Everybody should be able to make their way up. Oh, we got another set of cars going very slow, basically not moving. Not sure if they're going to halt the race start because our leader is entering turn 3. The cars are beginning to grid up in 3x3. The unfortunate thing is you can't overtake, so even with this car going slow, Crazy Mittens and Ryan Fisher can't just overtake them. They will get a penalty. So I'm really not sure why, but if these cars don't get a move on, it's going to be a big issue at the start of this race. Reales does get moving. They're not going to catch up to the leaders. They're not going to be starting this race at the same position as everybody else. The green flag should be waving any second. The lights are up, and it's green flag at the Indianapolis 250. The cars at the back of the pack are, well, a quarter of a lap down. Thereabouts. Not exactly a fair start for them. A great start for Jeff Aish and Super Goose. There were 3 wide in the background. Oh, Zed Piper dropping down a position or 2, being forced onto the high side. Oh, I thought he was going to get driven to the backup. He's basically getting pushed along by Sean Stewart. We have a car out the grass. 2 cars out in the grass. I'm going to assume we're having a bit of network connectivity issues. A lot of cars are pitting in early. Several cars aren't moving. Jeff H, though, is out in the lead, driving completely unfazed at what is occurring. Bunch of cars going down pit lane already. Seems a bit of an odd occurrence. Can't say I'm sure what's happening here. Yep, we are losing drivers. They're dropping like flies. I am thinking that perhaps this race is going to get a restart. Briefly gonna go check in with the... Oh, that's Jeff upside down. Yep, I think we're gonna be getting a full race restart here. Clearly some kind of technical issues forcing them to restart this race. And jumping in the can confirm drivers are being instructed to return to pit, and they're going to give this race a restart. And we'll get it going again. So, well, stay excited, because the race hasn't even begun. Apologize for the technical issues. Can't say what started it all, but I know for a fact that we'll get a proper race restart here. I think a lot of drivers may be receiving unjust penalties, sort of ruining the racing just a bit. We will stand by for a little while. So bear with us. I believe what they're going to have everybody do is they're going to disable qualifying. We're not going to re-qualify. They're going to have 2 laps to grid up. They have the formation lap, sort of green flag. Then we are going to go to a proper race restart. Hopefully everybody finds their positions as needed. Now, excuse me for one moment. I'm going to clarify something, because I might have to be this race starter here. I might have to call green, green, green. So I'm just going to go double check if that's still the case. So I will be right back with you as we get ready to go underway for the second and hopefully final time. Ladies and gentlemen, it does appear that I will be calling this race. Drivers are getting ready to go again. Drivers are given 2 laps. Well, 1 extra lap to find out their true qualifying position. I know it says 102 laps, and I know that I called that they were getting ready to do their first of 404 left turns. There's going to be a couple of extra on board. Well, we shall see. There we are, rolling again. Oh, Bit of not the most opportune start for our third place driver. I am being informed that one more restart will need to be done. With the way that the formation was working, it was forcing everybody to hold position for a full lap instead of there being a standing start where they could go ahead and grid up properly. Hopefully, we will get there. I can guarantee that we will get there for the Indy 250. We're just making you wait a little bit longer than you'd expect. You know, getting you excited, getting you ready. That is backwards into the grass. Everybody just sort of moving around, being instructed to retire. As I see in the top right of the screen, it's going absurd. Going crazy. Time penalty, time penalty, time penalty, time penalty. And who's got the most penalties at the moment? 15 seconds for Super Goose, 15 seconds for Ted Piper. Obviously, these will not carry into the race. We are green flag, but not really. Jeff H and Spamuel are going to race it out for maybe a couple corners. Maybe a bit of a taster of what's to come between the 8 and the 23. And this is certainly the most interesting start I've seen to a race in a while. Because, well, I guess we haven't seen the start yet, so it could be a very, a very boring start. But, apologies, folks. We are doing the best we can. Just hang out on the... I've just realized there's no sound. It's a Corvette Z06 that apparently has been transferred into a full electric car. Just realized that the head-up display is actually rendered. That's a thing I didn't know. But one more start for our drivers. All of them absolutely amped up. The award for most amount of penalty time ended up being for Spamuel. 90-second penalty. That is over a full lap. And we are back here again. Hopefully we will get going soon. A little pretty picture, an idea of what these Indy cars look like. I can promise you, this is not a speedway configuration. This is a circuit configuration of the car. You can tell because it actually has a rear wing. Unlike, well, I mean, they do have rear wings, but if you notice, single element, really not providing much downforce. It's all about top speed. And this is as good a time as any. If you're interested in joining us here at the America's Racing League, all of our information is in the description below. Join us on SimGrid. Check out some of the events that we do here. If you can name a sim, we're probably racing on it. iRacing, AMS2, ACC on console, ACC on PC, well as Le Mans Ultimate. Pretty much a championship going most days of the week. which is absolutely fantastic. So if you're interested in joining that, head over to SimGrid, join the Discord as well for all the information you could possibly need and possibly want. There's all kinds of good stuff, and hopefully the broadcasting will begin ramping up. Whether it's myself, my compatriot, Cormac Malloy, who unfortunately would be bringing you the pretty pictures, but it is just me because he is unable to make it this evening. Fortunately, I am as well. Oh, I just realized I completely forgot my excuse for the day. I am feeling a bit under the weather, so if my energy peters off, I'm not quite as excited as maybe I would be in other rounds. I apologize. I've been chasing a migraine all day. Super nauseous. So fortunately, I'm not driving a car. I'm just watching them drive. We should be going any moment now once all the drivers have readied up. This time in 2x2. And hopefully everyone will feed into their qualifying positions. Jeff H., our pole sitter, is going to have to literally come from the back of the field to find his spot. So there will be a lot of shifting going around. Hopefully everybody is able to get comfortable. I'm going to ask one more clarifying question before we get going, so bear with me. All things have been confirmed. We have this lap and then one more for drivers to get into their correct position and then form up, do a proper formation lap for lap 2, and then we will be calling green for the start of lap 3. Eagle-eyed viewers would notice that Ryan Fisher is just kind of driving away. He may or may not have gotten himself a drive-through. I think he got a little bit too excited on the not start and jumped the gun a bit. So he's going to drive ahead, clear their drive-through penalty, then drop back into their grid position. I was saying at the first start, and it was sort of their last time to make sure everything's fettled with the car, make sure everything was sorted. And oftentimes before races, you get into the mindset, you get ready, all the anticipation hits you. Fortunately for all of our guys today, they've sort of got amped up and had to settle back in 2 times. So I can imagine there may be some mistakes coming their way. If there were any setup mistakes, though, good news. You got another opportunity to fix it. This should be the very last time that all of this will be happening. We did, in fact, lose a driver, I have just noticed and just heard. Second place Merchant. Unable to come back. So we're not sure what happened to them, but they are no longer with us in this race. It's very unfortunate. Do all the prep, you get ready, and whether it's a technical issue or what, you lose the ability to race fully. There's Ryan Fisher. Going to drop back into their qualifying position. I believe it was 13th, maybe 15th position. I can't quite remember. Field's all coming by them. A few drivers weaving their tires aggressively. We're getting ready. They're coming around turn 3 now. They should be gridding up. I will be calling the green flag. I do have that honor, and I surely hope I don't mess it up. Because I'll be honest, really not sure where the start-finish straight is. I mean, I know, but I don't know. So I will do my best. I will start on this camera just so I don't miss the line. Ladies and gentlemen, please prepare for the race start. Prepare for green. Green flag. Go, 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 go. That felt cool. That felt neat. That's a new one. I've never got to call the race start before. Usually I'm waiting for the flag to go. It's a good start for Jeff H. It's a good start for the top 3, really, sort of gaining position. I think a couple of drivers were trying to find their qualifying place, their final grid position before they started going. And we are off to the races. 100 laps stand between one driver and victory here at the Indy 250. Jeff's leading the field. Super Goose following. Ted Piper is in third. The grid is mostly where it was at the race start. See drivers sort of jockeying to find a move on a driver. Super Goose getting very close to Jeff H ahead. No calamities so far. There's sort of a lead pack. The top 6 is formed. Following that, there's Matty Ice sort of on their own. And then the sort of 8th to 15th pack is forming. 200 miles an hour, round and round and round we are going to go. Somehow we're already 2 laps in. Doesn't even make sense to me. 5 miles in. Lap 3 is complete. Ted Piper's dropped back just a bit, maybe making a couple mistakes. Here comes Sloth on the inside. There's Sean Stewart. Oh, yep, getting the move done into turn 2. Sorry, excuse me, turn 3. There's only 4 corners, and I'm already messing them up. Getting the run. Jeff H is calm at the lead, but Super Goose biting at their heels. Hasta la Vista Donkey maybe thinking about a move here on Spamuel. Going low. Choosing their line early. Everything happens so fast. These cars are moving so quick. You need to be calm. You need to keep it collected. Here's Ryan Fisher thinking about a move down the inside of ARG. Oh, not quite close enough to do it, but here comes Crazy Mittens. Not having the drive out, maybe getting a little bit worried. Let's follow Session dropping back a whole lot. He's actually not in the livery we're used to seeing him in. Oh, he sort of jinks over. Ryan Fisher touches the wall. He's moved up to 14th position. Sean Stewart absolutely flying at the moment. Setting purple sectors. Still Jeff in the lead. Sean Stewart, though, dropping a bit back from the 3-man fight for P3. I think that was a car very slow in the background. That's Anthony Pacheco. I think he might have checked into the wall just a tad because he's not going at race pace. Oh, he definitely sees some suspension damage for our driver. He's going to have to take it slow, keep it low, stay out of the way. Fortunately, they're still moving. So there shouldn't be a yellow flag. There shouldn't be a full course yellow. But that will be an early stop for Pacheco. And that's going to make the rest of their race just that little bit more difficult. So see what it looks like for Super Goose. I think if I were them, I'd be working together with Jeff H, and it seems like they are. There's no reason to go for an overtake so early. Use Jeff H's pace and sort of lift on the back of him. Oh, never mind. Gonna go for the move early in the race. On lap 7, takes the lead rather handsomely. A mistake coming out of turn 4 for Jeff H. And it changed for the lead. I was gonna say, you know, a lot of times you want to work together with the car ahead of you. Because if you go for overtakes, you can slow each other down, lose momentum, let the rest of the field catch up. Going ahead and taking the lead early on. Interesting, I've noticed some of these cars incredibly quiet. This is a bit strange. This is Sloth sizing up our podium driver, Ted Piper. Maybe thinking about a move. It seems that we've lost another car. It's Sean Stewart. He was going very quickly. I completely missed him dropping down the field. Ball Obsession has actually jumped up a couple of positions as well. So an early stop for Pacheco, an early stop for Stewart. Possibly a bit of damage, excuse me. ARG's maybe thinking about it here. I've just realized ARG's in the Les Paul Obsession livery, and that's just a little bit confusing for on my end, but we shall survive. It's a good fight in the midfield, all the way from Matty Ice to MARG. We've lost a car. I think that's Ryan Fisher has dropped off the timing screen. Very interesting. Couple drivers a lap down. Crazy Mittens, I think, briefly in the wall. We had a yellow. Is it a full course yellow? It might be. Seems the race has been mostly neutralized. We'll see. Yep, here's the safety car coming out to grab the leaders. 10 laps in, and the first caution has been waived. So for those drivers that took that early stop, Pacheco, Stewart, they might get waved around. They might get that extra lap back. Can't say for sure. This will bunch the pack back up. Give drivers, put them back into position to make up more time, more positions. Not sure what brought out the safety car in the full course yellow. I did see our briefly stationary on the track map. Look, I'm curious who's currently got our fastest lap. It appears by 1,000th of a second. Super Goose 62. Nobody electing to take any sort of early pit stop. Not surprised. Doesn't really make sense at this phase to take a stop. It is also possible that pit lane is closed. I wish I could know when it opens, when it closes, but I sort of can't. But no real reason to make a stop this early. Maybe a third of the way into your first stint. Maybe a driver could, you know, if I was sort of towards the back of the field, I'd maybe think I'd take this stop. Eliminate the need for a fourth later in the race, and that sort of gives you an opportunity to drive at full beans for the rest of the race. Don't worry about fuel saving. Don't worry about making that sort of 33, 34 laps a stint to eliminate the final stop. But nobody electing to do that so far. He's mostly fed in. Oh, there's Mr. Les Ball Obsession, also known as Ryan Cooper, taking a stop as well. Maybe taking my advice. Could be. Not impossible. But they will feed out to the back of the grid once they get going. They're the only driver taking full advantage of the free pit stop at this stage. Wish I could tell you whether this was the last lap of the safety car, but there's no lights on the top of the safety car that would indicate whether they're in this lap, so I don't know. But as they're getting ready to come around turn 4, we'll see if safety car peels in the pit lane. They do not. So we're still cautioned for another lap, at least. Is good news for Ryan Cooper. He's coming to the back of the grid now. I'm going to say, for Sean Stewart and Anthony Pacheco, maybe they get a lap back. But the wave arounds don't seem to be happening on the speedway as they were attempting to happen at Long Beach last week. I was amazed that they started to happen, but was then disappointed by the fact that the full course yellow wasn't nearly long enough for the wave arounds to actually happen as far as the feedback in. No. Automobilista 2 is a bit of a quirky racing sim. I love it. A lot of drivers love it. There's no sim out there that has the breadth of racing that this sim does. Maybe iRacing is the only other one, but unless you have $2,000 to experience all of it, this is your next best bets. Hundreds of cars. There's like, I don't know, 90 plus circuits and circuit variations at least. And oftentimes can be found for super, super cheap. And as we're talking about that, we're going green flag again. Wasn't even paying attention to whether the safety car was coming in. Making myself look a bit of a fool. But we are on the restart. Super Goose leading out front of Jeff H. Mostly fed in behind. Checo is at the rear of the field, either towing around Ryan Cooper or impeding him. That's already a car on the wall. That is Hasta La Vista Donkey. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's going to be a long drive back to pit lane. That is missing a front splitter, a rear wing, and a front right tire. I think we're immediately back to a full course yellow. We are indeed. Debris on circuit, slow-moving car. We got, well, half a lap before our final caution. I am glad that what I said at the beginning of the race was correct, where I said I guarantee that it's not just going to be green flag racing. These oval races rarely ever are. I mean, these cars, if you're on a super aggressive setup, they are incredibly twitchy. If you take, you know, if you plant the power just a little bit too early coming out of a corner, you'll scrub wide, especially if your tires are starting to get a bit worn. And you do that, you touch the wall going, you know, 190 miles an hour. That's the least that's going to happen, is you're going to remove most of the car Fortunately for us, Levi's Donkey, they did make it back to pit lane. Unfortunately, they are going to be stationary for a significant amount of time. And yet again, it begs the question this time around, when that pit lane does open, are any of the drivers going to elect to take a stop? Are they thinking about, well, we're a good chunk of the way into the first stint. Does it make sense? Get new tires, put some more fuel on board. I can imagine that the front runners are not going to jump at the opportunity. Track position is important. And I would be very surprised if, well, we see some mid-pack drivers peeling in. The 23 car of Spamuel. I saw one more dive down pit lane. Sean Stewart is going to take another stop. Maybe sustain some damage. I'm going to say sustained at least a little bit. They are still stationary for a moment after the fuel's put on board. We're back to the silence of the safety car with a little bit of V6 IndyCar in the background. I also find it hard to believe that in this car, first gear gets you to 109 miles an hour. And I know for a fact that that's not true because, fun fact, if you go on board with any of the cars, you do not get a gear indicator. It does give you RPM. It does give you speed. I'm not sure if the fuel reading is accurate. Could be, could not be. But it's just funny to think about a first gear that takes you to 109 miles an hour. Couple more laps should do it. There's Hasta La Vista Donkey coming out of pit lane. Not sure if they're allowed to overtake the safety car. They will have an indicator on their screen on what they are able to do. They're holding pace with the safety car, so I assume they might slot in a little bit of grass on the exit. They are holding steady. Now, it would be very interesting if they're being instructed to lead the pack. I'm going to guess they are. So that might make things a little bit difficult. The likes of Super Goose and Jeff H, because they're going to have a car that is not required to obey blue flags on the restart. But it might be a free bit of tow for Super Goose. Safety car is in pit lane. We should be going green flag any moment. We are green flag yet again. 18 laps in, 2 cautions, and we're back to racing. A gentle start from Super Goose. Gonna soak up as much of the tow from Hasta La Vista Donkey as they can. Might be looking to overtake early. Skids into the wall. That arrow, oh, it's off into the grass briefly. You're getting a bit excited. Washing out a bit wide. I'm wondering if that car has a bit of damage. Jump on board briefly. See if we can see the steering coming out of the turn. Having to lift behind the driver. That causes Jeff H to lift in sort of a concertina effect. The whole field is being bunched up. Groove Armada's thinking about going down the inside or around the outside of Ted Piper, but not doing. Hasta La Vista Donkey has just added this new element to the race restart of there basically being a roadblock Jeff H is thinking about going around down the inside, has the run to retake the lead of this race, and is also getting well past Hasta La Vista Donkey. So are other drivers. Sloth still holding on to third at the moment. It's a scrap in the midfield for sure. Some cars 3 wide, maybe thinking about 4 wide going into turn 1. We're on board with Matty Ice right now. Groove Armada going around the outside, running wide. But here comes Mayor Reales in the 23, sneaking down the inside, grabbing a few positions. Here comes Groove, attacking right back. Another change for the lead. Super Goose has made it past Jeff H. Sloth now in the hunt for the lead. I'm thinking Jeff H's strategy right now is one of management. Maybe not pushing for absolute pace, maybe not pushing to lead this race. And of course, as I say that, has retaken the lead of this race. It's just a full fat scrap on the Indianapolis International Speedway. It's still a fight for the lead. Sloth holding with the leaders for the moment. Ted Piper has dropped back massively, I think, being slowed by the car in 12th. Slowing the pack a bit down. It's a fight for 5th still. Groove Armada leading Mayor Reales and Matty Ice. Yes, looks like they have the run. They do have to lift maybe a bit more than they wanted to. In race trim, these cars are pretty much always lifting for turn 1. If my memory serves me correctly, you lift for turn 1 and turn 3. I think you can be flat out for 2 and 4, depending on your setup, depending on your driving. Matty Ice just changed down. It's not something I've really seen. Oh, Jeff H has dropped down to 3rd. Have some support for Super Goose in the YouTube chat. A big lift from Jeff H. I think it might be a race of management for them. Not looking to push on early. Some tire debris kicking off of the car in P2, the 21. But the good news is we are getting some cautionless laps underneath us. It's Ted Piper. I thought it was a race for position, but no, it's Hasta La Vista Donkey pushing to hopefully unlap themselves, probably causing issues for the driver in 4th. There are no blue flags on a speedway, and there are no blue flags really in IndyCar in general. If you are a lap down, you are not mandated to give way. Super Goose has lost the lead briefly. Everything's happening so fast in the front pack, I keep missing it. Let's see what it looks like for Super Goose as they're chasing to retake the lead. Slightly different lines. Maybe Sloth turning in just a little bit too early, scrubbing the speed off just a tad. Super Goose not thinking to go for a move into turn 3, but closes up massively through the corner. Turn 4 now. Easy flat for these drivers. You can see what the toe looks like when you're sitting on the front splitter of these Indy cars. It just seems that Super Goose has a lot more in the mid corner than Sloth. Sloth not living up to the name, I must say. But I think our top 3 working together just a bit, pull away from the pack, get some good laps in, not go for any risky moves, not slow each other down. 27 laps into this race. We've just passed the 1/4 mark. I know it says 29, well now 30 laps in the top. Here's Super Goose going for it, for the to retake the lead. He has done, and already pulled a massive gap. Half a second in one corner is immense on a speedway. Leaving to stay out of the tow. I think Super Goose is going to take this opportunity to run. FH now might be realizing I need to get past Sloth and get back in the tow of Super Goose as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit harder to stay with him. Showing really good pace in clean air. First couple of pit stops. Pacheco's actually back in pit lane. Not sure when that happened. ARG is stopped. We are going to start to hit the pit cycle for those who didn't stop during either of the cautions. Super Goose is just flying now. That restart sort of causing the field to bunch up more than expected. Allowed for Sloth to get in the mix for the fight. Super Goose biding their time. To go for the lead. Here comes Jeff H on Sloth into turn 3. Making it look easy. Now 2 seconds thereabouts to catch back up to Super Goose. Neither driver has the benefit of the tow, so it's clear air pace that's going to determine who's going to be leading this race. But the pit stop should start coming in the next handful of laps. Sort of targeting 31 laps at full chats. We did spend some time behind the safety car, not using very much fuel. We will see. Seems like there's a bit of a scrap in the midfield. Sean Stewart's making their way through the fields. This time, going around Matty Ice. This is a driver who, early on in the race, had a spot of bother, needed to jump in for a pit stop, lost a lap, and now has to race to get back in a position. To get back on the lead lap. It is very tough going a lap down this early on. You have to show an incredible amount of pace to take it back. Field's beginning to spread out. Oslavisa Donkey's back in the pits. Hopefully just for a routine stop and not for any more damage. I am impressed how quickly everything sort of spread out. Super Goose leading the pack as we cross the 1/3 race distance length. I know it says 102 laps, and for my mathematicians would know that that's not 250 miles, it's a bit over 250 miles. Well, technical issues meant that there were a couple false starts, and to get everyone back gridded normally added 2 extra laps to race distance, so that's why I'm saying there's 34 laps into the race and not 36. Those first 2 laps were on the timesheet, but weren't actual racing laps. Fastest lap set by Jeff H, 39.5. They're really in the hunt now to catch down the Super Goose. is just being super. That Mayor Reales may be getting ready to enter pit lane, and I think maybe pressing the brake pedal a little bit too hard. Briefly touching the wall. We'll see what a routine stop looks like. Oh, there is nothing routine about this stop. Having to reverse down pit lane to to get back into the pit box. It looked like they made it just fine, but not quite. Drivers stopping now. Jeff H already cleared about 0.3 of a second in the last lap, going even quicker. Take a look at the race times so far. Oh, our leader has boxed as I was getting ready to do that. I was so confused because when I opened up the timing screen, I was like, wait a minute. Super Goose isn't in the lead, but they're taking their first pit stop of the race. Interestingly, not taking tires. Sitting stationary for a while. I think fixing the damage. They did have a scrape with the wall on the restart. Maybe fixing some damage. Jeff H retakes the lead. But that is a long stationary time as it's a race in the pit lane between Ted Piper and Super Goose. That shows you how long he was stationary. Ted Piper came in several seconds afterwards, but Super Goose now staying stationary longer, dealing with a bit of damage. Has now dropped back. And we'll see what it looks like as they're re-entering the circuit. Oh, it's full course yellow, actually. And, well, this is a bit of an issue for Ted Piper and Super Goose because they have come out exactly behind the race leader. And there haven't been any waiver rounds granted thus far. So if Jeff H doesn't pit, which I assume he will, then Sloth and Groove Armada are going to be a lap down. So that's all but neutralized both of their races at the moment. I assume everybody who has yet to stop will be heading down pit lane once the pits do open. Checo is in pit lane again. Might have jinxed them just a bit when I was calling on their qualifying time. But just keeps getting a little bit close to the barrier. Making a bit, having a bit of issues. And I think, unless anything changes, any drivers retire, it might be 13th for Anthony Pacheco. This is interesting. The perfect caution to come out for Jeff H. And because I'm realizing I'm discussing the lack of waiver rounds, but typically the way waiver rounds work is anybody who is ahead of the race leader behind the safety car typically gets waived round. And here comes Jeff H. Gonna head down the pit lane. A whole slew of cars heading down pit lane. We'll see what a typical pit stop looks like. Hopefully this time a typical pit stop. Little jaunt in pit lane. I'm gonna assume tires are being changed. Or maybe not. It could be that these tires last long enough to double stint them. I'm a bit surprised. Maybe they are taking tires. It's just something that's not animated. because I know the stop is very quick on those tires. This has now meant that Spamuel has moved up to the lead of the race. Driver that must have taken their stop early on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are as confused as I are, or as I am, I don't blame you. Because I really don't know what this means for the race. Because those who stopped right before the yellow flag came out, especially those being Super Goose and Ted Piper, they are now a lap down, but ahead on circuit than the race leader. Nobody appears to be getting waved around. Jeff H has lost the lead of the race. Ryan Cooper's up to third. Sloth is back into fourth. And Sean Stewart is now has a lot more cars on the same racing lap as they are. So we'll have some racing company. They in the train are just behind Spamuel, between Spamuel and Jeff H. Would imagine the safety car is going to be going in any moment. Had 11 laps, led by the safety car. We'll see. Yep, they will be peeling into pit lane. Green flag should be going any moment. Green flag as they're led off by Ted Piper, the driver, in 7th position. They were briefly running in 3rd and then 4th for most of the race, but because of the way the cautions have played out, are now a full lap down, along with the former race leader, Super Goose. And the car to beat. At the moment, a bit of movement happening already between Matty Ice and Groove Armada. See what it looks like coming into turn 3, trying around the outside. Does Groove Armada, does that hamper their drive into turn 4? Doesn't seem like it too much. Gets a good run coming out of the corner. Following the snake that is Marialis and Sloth. So this is a fight for 4th position. Well, very clean run for Groove Armada. I think it's going to be 3 wide briefly. It is 3 wide on the run down to turn 3. Groove Armada's up to 4th position and change. Very good restart for them. I think here comes Jeff H on the back of Spamuel. Jeff H has the pace to retake the lead and will retake the lead down the inside into turn 1. And now for Jeff H, I think it's just back to a bit of race management, a bit of focusing up, minimizing mistakes. This is Super Goose on Ted Piper. Ted Piper going defensive into turn 3. You know Super Goose is a patient driver. We saw them work their way to the lead of the race early on. Still a fight for 4th taking place just behind. Here's Sloth on Groove Armada in, well, I guess they're EV-powered IndyCar. I don't know. There's a lack of sound there. They've taken back 4th from Groove. These two are scrapping a whole heck of a lot. If I were them, I'd maybe consider working together just a bit. Chasing down Ryan Cooper. Les Paul Obsession is in 3rd position. You know, make your way through the traffic, get back towards the fight for the lead. Put yourself in a good position to fight for the podium, but I think they're having too much fun to fight each other. Romano's going to think about it around the outside. Does around the outside have the run into turn one. Scrap that I don't think is going to be ending anytime soon. These two drivers leapfrogging each other for a very, very good position. Jeff H now is coming up to the back of Super Goose and Ted Piper fighting, and it's got to be a little heart-wrenching for these two, because especially for Super Goose, he was fighting for the race lead, and here comes his rival for the fight, getting ready to lap him. Here's Jeff H on Ted Piper. Ted going defensive. He doesn't want to be lapped. He doesn't want Jeff H to come through. Jeff H sort of ducks back in behind him, knowing he's going to get the run through 3 and 4. This is what I'm saying about these oval tracks. It's not just turning left. There's a lot more to it. You sort of can be very tactical coming through. They're too wide going through one, but Jeff H makes the pass. Let's see what's happening with our two fighting for 4th. Fighting on still. See what the toe looks like from how it looks on the front bumper. We did just lose a car. It was Maximo ARG. They retired from, I believe it was 11th position, promoting Oslavisa Donkey and Anthony Pacheco up. See, he's got to run. Not close enough into turn one. See how it looks coming through 2. Very close now, diving to the inside early. I think it's going to be another change for position between these two. They are, I can guarantee, just having an absolute blast in this fight. We're just about to cross half distance. Actually, here comes Ryan Cooper, thinking about a run on Spamuel. This is as high up as this driver has ever been so far in this series. First time on the podium, provisionally of course, but they want more, and they've gotten more. Swinging on through the 25 on the 23. Slightly incorrect livery choice from a couple of drivers. Ryan Cooper is through. Anthony Pacheco is back in pit lane. A quick look and see, is it a routine stop or is it more damage? I think unfortunately for them, it is more damage. And what Ryan Cooper needs to do now is stretch their legs. If they are able, gain time on Spamuel, put distance between themselves and the cars ahead and the cars behind. And if another caution comes out, they want to be squaring away in second. Here's Jeff H now lapping the former race leader. It's just got to be salt in the wound. For Super Goose, the driver is currently in 7th. The unfortunate caution coming out, putting them a lap down, means that their hopes for victory are at the moment dashed. But if they can get ahead and stay ahead of Jeff H, and another caution comes out, they could get that lap back and begin charging back through the field. These two are still going at it. It's Groove Armada down the inside of Sloth. Now, the good news for Spamuel and Ryan Cooper in third and second is these two scrapping are costing them valuable race time. It's going to be harder for them to charge up to the pack. Spamuel is in down pit lane, but here comes Matty Ice. As I said, they're losing valuable race time. So that's giving the driver in P5 an opportunity to join this fight. And look at how much greater of a run they have because they weren't fighting. Maybe thinking about a move into 3. Not so this time. But I think this 2-way is about to become a 3-way. Here comes Sloth yet again. Matty Ice has a huge run. Might be thinking about around the outside. Oh, turns in a bit late. Scrubs a bit wide. Here comes... well, not 100% sure who that is. Let's find out. Here comes Sean Stewart now, the next to join this pack of battlers. It's Matty Ice dropping back, making some mistakes. Sean Stewart is going to make this one look easy. Get them both done on the straight. And because of that, Groove Armada's now dropped back just a bit. This has now become a fight for third as Spamuel went down pit lane moments ago, promoting a bunch of drivers up a position. But Sean Stewart showing that maybe if you don't fight too hard, you can have the pace. Just ran it around the outside, down the inside of both of these drivers. The last thing a driver wants to hear, and the last thing a driver wants to think about is not racing and not overtaking. But I do think this is going to cost them more time than it's going to gain in the end. 14 seconds off the lead, 6-7 seconds off of driver who's in second. Jeff H, though, sitting pretty in the lead, splitting Super Goose and Ted Piper. Goose knows that if a caution comes, he's ahead of Jeff H. There's a possibility of getting a lap back. So this isn't a pointless fight. This is worth a lot. I think Jeff H knows that too, but maybe knows that the time they could lose, the mistakes they can make from a pointless fight could put them in a worse position. Here's these two still scrapping. I think we should start a drinking game. Take a shot every single time these two switch positions. You'd be in a coma by the end of this race, if not already. Sloth is now leading the pair. Matty Ice showed a lot of pace to catch up to them very suddenly, but made a couple mistakes, lost a bit of momentum. The lead has changed again in the fight for third position. Possible I might get tired of saying it, but I won't get tired of seeing it. Gonna say it should be a pit stop coming soon. for several drivers. This race, if it were to run cautionless, pretty much every car would be on the bubble between a 3-stop and a 4-stop. The cautions saved several laps of fuel. Maybe 8, 9, 10 laps of fuel, so everybody can push at the absolute maximum for a 3-stop. About 30, between 31 and 35 laps are estimated for a single stint. And quite honestly, this is sort of what I was expecting from this race, for these three fighting, but on the same racing lap. I think we've been just robbed a tad bit of what could have been. And I wouldn't hope for a caution, but I almost hope that there's a caution and the positions maybe swap a bit. You know, we get to see Ted Piper and Super Goose make their way back to the field on the racing lap. Maybe catch up to Jeff H. just a bit. Super Goose is going defensive. Maybe made a bit of a mistake out of 3. Worried about Jeff's advance to re-lap the Hello Kitty car driver. Right, so it's the battle between the soup enjoyers, the soup fans, and the Jeff H fans in the YouTube chat. And at the moment, Jeff H is comfortable in a very, very good position. I don't think these two are going to be... These 3, excuse me, are going to be dropping away from each other anytime soon. They're sort of towing each other around, excuse me. And Piper, of the 3, seems to have the least pace, but is holding with them at the moment. Now these two, Groove Armada and Sloth, still going at it. They pretty much trade positions. Maybe once, twice every lap. I keep seeing it in the top right of the screen. Between the two, moving up to P3. Matty Ice is closing up on them just a little bit. So it might become a 3-way fight soon. Field is pretty well spread out. Gas La Vista Donkeys back in pit lane again for a damage repair. Our drivers in 12th and 11th place, certainly not having an Indy race to remember. Just can't really keep it out of the wall long enough to make any inroads. Sean Stewart is now the next driver in the pit lane, probably serving a regular stop. We have just hit 2/3 race distance. These 3 are still very relaxed, or as relaxed as you can be going over 200 miles an hour. Because they're just sort of, well, they're taking 4 lefts. Sign-ups are still open for this series if anybody's interested in spending a Tuesday night driving Indy cars. This is round 5, and next week we are at a bit of a surprising circuit choice on the calendar. A bit of a scrape of the wall for the Super Goose. And we are at the Circuit Termas de Rio Hondo, which is best known as a MotoGP circuit, and it is absolutely fantastic to drive. I believe Jeff H went into the pit lane. I thought I had switched cameras. Hadn't. Let's see what it looks like from the tail of this field. And these three are actually coming to lap. Well, two of them are going to unlap. Jeff H is going to lap. The Groove Armada sloth fight that is still absolutely raging. Another lap, another position change. They are going to keep this fight till the very end. But, oh, actually, Super Goose has dumped into pit lane. Ted Piper's still moving, but maybe has lost a little bit of time behind a scheduled stop, I can imagine, for Super Goose. And I would imagine our race leader should be coming in shortly. It's a bit harder to calculate. I can't say how much fuel they've saved. But if the fuel that we can see on the steering wheel is anything to go by, if it is accurate, I have a feeling it's reasonably accurate, still has several laps left of fuel. We've had 3 cautions so far, but it's been to green flag racing for a while. Early on in the race, it was Super Goose and Jeff H vying for dominance. But an unfortunate caution came out, forcing them into a bit of an awkward position. Here's Super Goose now coming out of pit lane. Getting back up to speed, getting heat back in the Speedway compound attire. Maybe hoping that by the time Jeff H pits in, we will get... Well, he will stay ahead of the race leader there or thereabouts. Here's Matty Ice. I've sort of been watching him on the timing screen, catching up to the drivers fighting for 3rd and 4th. Just not the greatest strategic move to fight each other as hard as they are doing. It's allowing other cars to catch up. We've seen this before. This is actually the furthest distance we've sort of seen between them. Brian Cooper, Les Paul Obsession is in the pit lane. Sloth is going to go down pit road this time, promoting Groove Armada and Matty Ice up a position. We should have to pit soon. This will sort of affect Matty Ice's ability to fight for positions over Groove and Sloth. See where everybody feeds in coming out of pit lane. The average pit lane delta, I have failed to mention it up to now, is about 35 seconds. There's Super Goose taking a really wide line to get around Matty Ice. Matty Ice is now down pit road along with Groove Armada. It's still Jeff H. He seems to have this ability to be very fast, but also very fuel efficient. Seeming to be able to go longer than everybody else and faster. Let's see it. Assume Ted Piper certainly hasn't entered pit lane yet, but without Jeff H being slowed down by Super Goose has just completely dropped off the back of the race leader. I'm going to assume when they pit, there's Jeff H down pit lane. He should come out comfortably in the lead. Well, I say comfortably in the lead. I will stand by comfortably in the lead. I was a bit concerned. The race relative going absolutely absurd. Losing its mind a bit. Not sure where drivers are. Not sure where they're supposed to be. Jeff H now is at pit exit. Taking the long way around. Gonna have to come back up to speed, but yes, should be handsomely ahead of Ryan Cooper in second. Now, there's a bit of a pack for the Super Goose to work through. As Sloth and Crew of Armada, they're still on each other. One tried to undercut the other, but it didn't make a difference. That's Hasta La Vista Donkey on leading the pack on the outside. Everyone having to take it super, super easy. Can't make any mistakes at this speed. That could be race ruining. 4 cars, several different laps, several different amounts of pace. Let's see how Super Goose can deal with this. I hate to break it to you, Mr. Linus Lunkless Worsper H. By the way, fantastic username. There was a caution that came out as Super Goose and Ted Piper entered pit lane. I think it was around lap 40 that the safety car took them and slotted them directly behind Jeff H. Unfortunately, is not the pit cycle. They are a full lap down from the race lead. And there hasn't been another caution that has gotten to get them to cycle. But it was basically the most unfortunate full course yellow timing I've ever seen. That basically just took them out of the race. Bit of a robbery. I agree. I agree. I was hoping for you know, more of a dramatic, race lead, or fight for the lead, but we were kind of robbed of that. Been a good fight between Groove and Sloth, but it's been an unlucky race. Or a few. I will say the good news for the Soup Goose, should or will come out ahead of Ted Piper whenever Ted takes their final pit stop. We have lost Anthony Pacheco. Maybe one wall tap too many. It's 2x2 going through turn 4. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, it's gotten so much, oh my lord, oh my, it's gotten way worse. Oh, it's gotten, it's gotten so much worse. I think it was, okay, so we've got 2 cars upside down. Super Goose missing half of the tires. Matty Ice is upside down. And Mayor Reales is also missing most of their cars and is currently hanging their wing on. That looked like a bit of a I think, a tap of the wall for Hasta La Vista Donkey. Sort of rode Super Goose into the wall, or maybe vice versa. That caused them to flip. They were stationary on the circuit. This is why I really wish that Automobilista had a replay function, because I would really like to see that and figure out what happens. We've lost 2 cars that were upside down. I'm afraid we're going to lose another. And, well, that's led to our fourth full course caution of the race in unbelievably dramatic fashion. I did see what you did there, and I like it. I did like it. And I mean, it's good news for our race leader. It's good news for Sean Stewart. They're gonna get a position from it. Ted Piper can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that they won't have to worry about losing the position. The soup. There's our 3rd retirement from the collision. I do not know what to say about that. We began with 16 cars. 2 false race starts later. And 4 full course yellows, we are now down to 8. Jeff H. leads the field. Les Paul Obsession, in the wrong car, is in 2nd. He's now actually going to drop down to 3rd. 4th, actually. I think it's going to be an ill-timed pit stop. River Armano and Sloth took their final stop, so it will be a race to the finish. Might actually be, it's going to have to be a proper fight for the podium now between the 3. Actually, I'm calling something that's not happening. I apologize. I'm well out of sorts after the chaos that I've seen. That was Sean Stewart peeling into pit lane for their final stop. All drivers, I'm going to assume, have taken their final stop. We should go green, not this lap, then the following. So then it will be a 15 or so lap sprint to the finish. It's going to be a proper fight for 2nd, I would believe. Position like this, I would say, oh, it could be a change for the lead. There always could be. Ed Piper, though, is sitting in between Jeff H. and everybody else. So good news for Jeff H. Also, take a look at the timing screen. Jeff H. does hold the fastest lap by a reasonable margin. Actually, no, Ted Piper holds the quickest race lap. Excuse me. But Jeff H. has shown the most consistent pace. Yes, hopefully our soupy guy will have better luck next week. Hopefully better luck at the next oval, at the finale, at the Auto Club Speedway. Safety car should be coming in any moment now. Should be pitting in after this corner. It will be up to Jeff H to take the green. I'm going to start on board with Sloth. We are green flag. I always forget, for whatever reason, their car is quieter than the rest, so it's not a raucous start from what we can hear, but it is a very good start from Jeff H from the lead. Let's see how this all shakes out. Sloth and Groove have been battling all race, but will they work together long enough to catch Fall Obsession? Oh wait, is that, oh no! 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 Oh no, it's a restart of agony for Fall Obsession, the driver that's been sitting on the podium for the last several laps. Might just be, fortunately isn't high-sided, will be able to continue with clearly so much suspension damage. Now the car will only go right, which is a problem because the circuit only goes left. And this did happen earlier. This is just painful to watch. Yeah, we're gonna just wait for the safety car to come out. That's too much pain. It was going unbelievably well for Ryan Cooper, but somehow during the restart, I think it was Sean Stewart that started alongside. Those two started fighting. Ryan Cooper went wide into the wall, and catastrophe. May not even be able to make it into pit lane. The car's just crabbing. Unable to go down pit lane. Please turn left. Come on. Come on. No. No. This is the most painful thing I've ever seen. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Please just, yes. 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 All right. All right. All right. Now for the next challenge. That is full left lock, and it's still steering right. Now they need to enter their pit box, which I don't know how doable that's gonna be. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. You can see the pit boxes there. Oh, we got a little bit of left turning. Come on. Nearly there. Come on. Oh, don't tell me. Yes. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm wheeling this car into the pit lane. Yes. Oh, they've made it. I honestly was a bit worried that was going to end up as a retirement, but that was good commitment to get that car back to pit lane. An utter heartbreak. I was hoping to call for Ryan Cooper on the podium at Indianapolis, but it just wasn't so. This race couldn't go off with a whimper. It will not go off with a whimper. But hopefully, we at least finish on some racing laps. Hopefully, that damage was severe on Ryan Cooper's car. Hopefully, they're not stationary for long enough that they lose another full lap. Spamuel and Sean Stewart. That would just Be an unbelievable amount of salt in the wound. Let's see. Still in first gear. We're still going 109. Fun fact, the best lap for the safety car is 1 minute 22.98 seconds. Talk about consistency. I mean, the split time in the Corvette Z06 safety car is 1/100th of a second. It's almost like this car is programmed to go around at the exact same speed the whole time. It's incredible. Also, the cooling temperature is 32 degrees, or maybe that's the outside temp. I'm not sure. Should be racing this next lap. An 8-lap blitz to the finish. Does seem that Les Paul Obsession is going to be stationary. Still stationary. May have lost 2 more positions. We will get to see a fight for 2nd position and a fight for 6th in the closing stages. It's been a weird one, if I'm honest. Safety car is in. We'll try this again. Starting off, restart in the silent car. Hopefully no calamity. I have my fingers actively crossed. Yet again, a good restart from the leader. Groove Armada thinking about making a move on Spamuel. Les Paul Obsession is still in the pit lane. Hopefully won't be finishing the race in pit lane. But as far as the race for 6th, sorry, the race for 5th and the race for 2nd, Groove Armada already off to a very good start. There's Sean Stewart now. Needs to get around Sloth and past Spamuel. Eight laps remain. Not 8 laps. Why am I saying 8 laps? There's 14 laps. I don't know what's going on. There's 12. There's 12 racing laps to go. I can't do basic math. It can be the time that I remind everybody that I am under the weather and a bit stupid. See what it looks like. Sloth has cleared Spamuel. It's now Sean versus the Spam Man for 5th place for a top 5 in this race. And given how the race began for Sean Stewart, I think that will be a mega result, going a lap down early. Would be a heck of a result. Jeff H has already pulled 3 seconds on the cars in 2nd and 3rd, but I think we're back to our regularly scheduled program, which is Groove Armada and Sloth absolutely battling it out. Nice bunch. Here comes Sean down the inside of Spamuel into turn 3, doing it early before the long run to turn 4. Oh, and it's very close to the wall for Spamuel. Here comes Sloth on Groove. And here comes Spamuel on Stewart. No change. Thus far, 4 laps remain. They've turned left over 400 times. And just needs a couple more. That Sloth on Groove. Groove's dropped back to 4th. Sorry, excuse me. Groove drops back to 3rd. It's not over, though. Different lines, different approaches. Sloth going defensive into 1. These drivers know each other now. They've driven behind each other. They know where their weaknesses are. They know where the best opportunities to overtake are. Groove Armada, I think, is going to wait. Maybe another lap. He's going to try to make that overtake as late as he can. Sloth has shown really good pace in the closing stages. Showing good pace now, going very defensive, going way down low. Coming out of 4. There's still the fight for 5th. Oh, it's Sean Stewart into the wall hard. Hopefully not sustaining damage. Hoping that it's minor. Jeff H now has started lap 98 of this race. Those first 2 laps were not racing laps, mind you. Sean Stewart can smell it, can smell the position. Both cars going defensive. It's a bit of a ballet. Spamuel's gonna get past Groove Armada. That's gonna make our Groove's overtake on Sloth difficult, if nigh on impossible at this stage. Ted Piper's gotten ahead of Jeff H at the very end as well. Spamuel's showing a bucket load towards the end. Here comes Groove Armada. Jeff H has now started the final lap of our Indy 250. And ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this. 2 more corners, excuse me. For all of our drivers snaking down. They know this is the last chance they're going to get. Groove Armada thinking about it. It's now or never. Super, super close coming through turn 3. Do they have the run to cross the line first? Jeff H is going to win the race. Oh, it's going to be close, but it's not close enough. Sloth's going to cross the line in 2nd. Groove Armada 3rd. 5th for Spamuel. 6th for Stewart and Ted Piper. Maybe the race didn't go off with a bang. It went off with a bit of a whimper, but it's 4th position for them. And it's a sad 7th for Les Ball. Finding the wall once again. I'd say it's a sad 7th, but 7th is some fantastic championship points. But there was more. That is going to be it for the Indy 250 here at the ARL Formula USA 2026 season. And it was up, it was down, it was left. I was going to say it was right. It wasn't. It was just left. And pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong for some of our drivers. Jeff H found victory. Sloth 2nd. Groove Armada 3rd. Ted Piper 4th. Spamuel 5th. Sean Stewart 6th. Les Ball Obsession 7th. Matty Ice 8th. Super Goose 9th. Mayor Alice 10th. Hasta La Vista Donkey 11th. Anti Pacheco 12th. Maximo ARG 13th. Ryan Fisher 14th. Crazy Mins 15th. And second place Merchant apparently was disqualified. I thought there was some issues occurring. I don't know why there would have been a DQ. Ended up in 16th position. I don't really know what to say. Other than, what just happened? It was it was sort of in the early stages toted that we'd have a fight down to the wire, but the cautions ripping race victory out of hands in a massive accident, producing, well, one of the most dramatic crashes I've ever seen in any sim, in any race that I've commentated on. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say other than congratulations and welcome to the box, Mr. Jeff H77. I'm just talking about, it was a bit of a lonely race for you, but it's still a victory. Another victory. How did that race feel from your perspective? So when the I think it was the third full course caution came out and you saw Ted and Super Goose slot in right behind you, was it just like, was it a sigh of relief, or was it just sort of like, oh man, that's makes that a little bit easier but a little bit less exciting? Yeah, I was crossing my fingers because I know there was some wonky wave around action happening last week, and I was like, I don't think they do speedway wave arounds, but I wish that we could have made an exception. That was unfortunate. I'm sure you drove through the aftermath of the the accident. I think two cars were upside down. I think there was about 8 tires laying around on the circuit, but I mean, good on you for staying out of the way. And I mean, it just a race. No, I apologize. It was just a race of staying out of trouble for you. Well, you made it through indeed. Now the championship. I'm sure you've been paying attention. You're sort of very comfortable in the lead right now. So don't don't mess it up is all I can say. Well, congratulations on the victory. And maybe if all goes well again, we'll be talking to you next week. Yes, sir. That's an issue, and I know why.
But I can't hear anybody else that
I forgot to click a button because I'm a true professional. FH, I'll give you one more opportunity. Anything you want to say yet again, because I am a dingus.
No worries. Just happy for the result. Done a done the 500 or race at Indy quite a few times, and it's just never come together. So it's finally nice to get one finally. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this one. Thank you.
Well, congrats again. Forward to seeing you on circuit next week. Hope you can keep the charge. And now I will
Thank you.
swiftly and embarrassingly move on to Mr. J. Reese, Mr. Sloth. I know you did not have a boring race. Uh, I I proposed a drinking game where you take a sip every time that you and Groove changed position, but I think everybody would have blacked out. So
Yeah, we danced quite a bit for majority of the race. It was fun. It was a fun time, and admittedly, this is only my second ever oval race, and I don't really know how oval strategy works, so I wasn't sure if it was like, are we supposed to kind of just let each other go in front for a bit, and this is an advantage? I don't know. I was second guessing every overtake I did.
well, it was exciting to watch. I must say, you gave me some action in the booth where wasn't really a whole lot else. Was it just sort of? I mean, when the final safety car pitted in, was it just all right? I have to. Was it go pedal to the metal till the checker, or was there a little bit of all right? Maybe I'll wait a couple laps, or what was your
Well, I mean,
strategy?
we kind of had the same repeating pattern over and over again, I found, where if I passed Groove at any point, turn 3 and 4, he seemed to get like a perfect run on me 9 times out of 10. So it was like a bit of a brain game. It was like, well, I can't get too excited because I know he'll just get me eventually if he times it right. So that and the traffic, definitely, I shouldn't say traffic, but the cars a lap down definitely made things pretty sporty. It definitely added a factor. I believe the major crash that you referenced where cars were flipping over, that was like Groove and I were just on the edge of being involved in that. I believe we were in that cluster, and thankfully we snaked out of there.
Yeah, it was. I was thinking that maybe once the final pit cycle went through, that your guys' race would sort of be it wouldn't have happened quite the same, but lo and behold, it was you pitted on different laps, yet you came out absolutely on top of one another. Was that just like, oh good, back to this, or was that were you happy to see your battle buddy yet again?
Oh, it was quite exciting to see. Admittedly, I found myself as soon as I would get out of the drag and I was against another car who also wasn't in a drag, I would lose pace significantly. So I seemed to be losing that battle. So it was a bit of a relief when I found a similar pace car come out about the same time as me. But it was funny how it lined up like to the 10th of a second. Like the poetry wrote itself right there.
Well, it may not have looked like it'd be a guaranteed podium finish for most of that race, but you kept your nose clean. It's a second place. It's second best, but still pretty darn good. Are you
You
are
know,
you are you excited for to get back onto a circuit for next week? Feeling good?
I'm I'm very excited. I'm fired up. This is only the second league I participated in, but the first podium. So when we did that last safety car and saw that I was in third place and the last car on the lead lap, it was like, okay, just come home and be steady, but don't do anything too sporty. But yeah, to answer your question, definitely excited for next race, and excited to give my left arm a bit of a workout in addition to the right next time.
Yes, indeed. One more oval though. Excited. I enjoyed this one. Certainly wasn't boring, and I have you to thank for quite a bit of that. So congratulations on the second position. Hopefully we'll
Thank
see
you,
you.
sir.
We'll talk to you here again, maybe before the end of the season. I don't know,
Sounds
but
good. Looking forward to it. I'll see what I can do.
absolutely. Well, congrats again, and thank you for joining us in the booth and on the circuit. Last but certainly not least, Mr. Groove Armada. It wasn't quite second, but it wasn't that bad. Congrats on the podium. I mean, how'd you feel? You battled for 80% of that race. Are you tired?
Yeah,
Are you ready to go again?
So I'm more annoyed at anything. This was an aggravating night, not because of sloth. That was awesome. Yeah, it's clear to me now. He said he's not familiar with oval strategy. I'm like that now. It makes sense. It was fun. Everything was good. Sloth, we could have done that all night up until the point where he rode beside me. Uh, and the turns, that was going to slow us way down. But I think you only did that 2 or 3 times, and then I think you figured it out. But what Sloth didn't know was I had a 10-second penalty because I was speeding in the pits. I knew that he didn't, so I wasn't fighting too hard on the last few laps. But there, the last couple turns, I wanted to get close and give him a run for his money. I didn't want to take him out, but yeah, I knew I was getting P3 no matter what.
Oh man, you ruined the illusion because I had no idea. It's difficult for me to see penalties. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't on the timing page. But no,
Yeah, I had a bad first pit and screwed it up.
it is so easy to do, because the brakes in speedway configuration they just like don't really work. You're coming from like 200 miles an hour, and it's like, okay, you gotta. There's no temp in them. They're basically frozen shut, and you gotta not lock the rears and spin, which I think someone did at some point. A little bit of it, but yeah, so easy to do. But it looked exciting. In my head, I'm gonna replay it that you guys were fighting till the very end, and you fought to the line. We'll just pretend
Yeah.
that the 10-second didn't happen.
Oh, I mean, that was definitely the plan. And then we had another lap car get in the way, and it kind of screwed that up a little bit. But, it is what it is.
Well, congratulations on the final step of the podium. You more excited for 2 more circuits, or are you more looking forward to the final oval?
I love the ovals. Like I said last week or whenever it was, that's my thing. So I have fun there.
Hopefully, no penalties in the finale. How about that?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Well, thank you for joining us on circuit. Thank you for joining me in the box. Hopefully, next time I'll remember to hit the right button so we get to hear everybody equally. Thank you again for being here.
All right, appreciate it, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bring the end of the broadcast. It was mostly smooth, besides my own incompetence. I truly, dearly hope that that next week it won't just be me in the box, because I am not built to push all the buttons myself. Hopefully. And I know that this car that on screen is not the correct car. I didn't have the correct things in front of me. I like the 7-Eleven livery. We're going to stare at the 7-Eleven. It's pretty. I like it. It wasn't even on circuit today, and I don't care. It looks nice. But we're back to circuits next week. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways, because everyone's going to find out soon enough if they haven't already. It's going to be rainy next week. We're going to be in South America, and it's going to be wet. Do I know how wet? No, but I know it was a secret, and well, now I've gone and told everybody, but the practice session will be opening up any minute. So everybody's going to find that out soon enough. Unless, of course, that's changed, then I look like a dingus. But you enjoyed this week. I'm certain you will enjoy next week, because I can imagine the carnage will be dialed to an absurd degree. And we have that to look forward to. Thank you for joining us on this week's installment, Round 5, the Indy 250 of the Formula USA 2026 season here on America's Racing League. If you enjoyed what you saw, obviously like the stream, subscribe to the channel. If you want to join the shenanigans, head over to SimGrid, America's Racing League, or join the Discord, certainly join the Discord. Come hang out, say hello, speak to the drivers. It's a wonderful time. It's not just AMS2 we do here. It's just about everything. ACC on both console and PC, Le Mans Ultimate, and iRacing. If you like a certain car, you want to drive a certain thing, chances are we have you covered. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I look very much forward to speaking to you all again the following. And make sure to bring your raincoats. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.